into our VIRABHADRASANA 2, our Warrior 2 posture, we're going to come from a lunge. So start by tucking the toes on the back foot, just like Lala have already done. And then we're going to start with setting up the foundation. So Lala is going to bring the back heel down. And here you got two options. You can either bring the front heel to line up with the back heel, or you can bring the front heel to line up with the arch of the back foot. So again here, Lala, we're gonna just slowly bring the toes a little bit more into that 45-degree angle as we have a slight internal rotation of the back leg. So from here, I would often guide my students to extend the right arm out in front of them. So already now looking for some core engagement as they on the inhale, they lift their upper body up, keeping that front knee bent. So lifting the inner arch of the back foot, which helps to activate the back leg, keeping it straight and strong. So now we are having the hips in an external rotation, which is categorized by the front leg. The front thigh is still parallel. We're aiming towards having it parallel to the floor, and the knee is stacked directly over the heel, and the knee is in line with the second toe. Again, think Tadasana alignment in the upper body, and then having the arms extended out to the side in one straight line. So I think we can lower that front arm a little bit. Gaze is over the front hand. So from here we're going to come into our peaceful warrior. So we're going to do that by turning the front palm up. So there's different ways that you can come into this, but I really like that with the inhale, reaching a bit forward as if you're reaching out for something. And then on the exhale, you're reaching up and back, coming into a side stretch, a lateral bend here. So here it's important that you don't sink weight into the back hand so that you're not collapsing into the back leg. Still keeping that front knee bent, because what tends to happen here is that we start straightening out this leg a little bit more. So in our Warrior 2 and also in our Peaceful Warrior, the weight is evenly distributed between the front leg and the back leg. Here you also have an option for taking that back arm and bringing it all the way around to rest on the front thigh. If you can't reach all the way around, you can also just have this hand just resting on the lower back. From here, slowly coming back into your Warrior 2. Bringing the arms back parallel to the floor. And here it's also important that your students are not flaring the ribs out. So again, keeping that core engagement, keeping this posture strong. It's a warrior posture. So coming into our UTTITA PARSVAKONASANA, our extended side ankle. So we will often transition into this posture from our Warrior 2. So we will start with the modified variation where Lala is bringing the front arm's elbow to the knee. Here it's important that she's not sinking weight into that front leg. Exactly, but she's just having a point of contact without putting much weight there. The top arm is either reaching up towards the sky in a straight line, or she can also choose to extend the arm over her head. So again, keeping that engagement in the core so that you keep the lift and you don't sink weight into the front leg. Same alignment as in Warrior 2, we still have the front knee bend, a 90-degree angle, but you have a few variations here with the upper body and with the hand placement. It's great using the block in this posture, so you can bring that block on the inside of the foot. And again, you can either choose to have the arm extended either over the head or having it extended up. It depends on what feels best for your shoulder. Okay. Gaze can be down, that will help the balance and stability, or you can also bring the gaze up. But if that causes any discomfort in your neck, then there really is no need to do that. You can also place the block on the outside. Again, depending on your preference and what feels best in your practice. What's important here is that the knee stays in a 90 degree and that you keep the chest open. What I see happening a lot in my classes is that the students are so focused, try to do it without the block, Lala. They're so focused on wanting to bring the hand down that they are not able to open the chest. So here they really want to spin the chest open, so bringing that top rib up and back to create that opening in the chest. So you can always have almost have your students imagining that they're pressed in between two pieces of glass. So that is how much they want to open their chest towards the side of the room. Yeah. So coming into our UTTITA TRIKONASANA, our extended triangle posture. So coming into this posture, we will start with just shorten the stance, so just bringing that back foot in a little closer. Then we're going to straighten out the front leg. And what's important here is that we don't lock the knee. So you're still keeping the knee soft. I won't be able to see that Lala is doing that, but she's just having like a micro bend in the knee. That's really important to protect the joint, the knee joint. Again, the front heel is in line with the back heel. The back foot is pointing in a 45-degree. And then from here, Lala, she's going to start reaching towards me as she's shifting the hips back. Beautiful. And then slowly lowering that hand all the way down, either onto the ankle, or she can also, again, use a block here if needed. Bringing the top arm up in line with the bottom arm. And again, spinning that top hip up and back, and doing the same with the chest. Imagining that you're pressed in between two pieces of glass so that your body is in one line, opening up to the side of the room. Lala can choose to bring her gaze up, but that requires a bit more balance and stability, or she can gaze to the side, or she can gaze down. If you have any tension or discomfort in your neck, keep the gaze down. So here you can also choose to do it without the block and lowering the hand down. But again, watch out for what happens with the upper body. If this starts happening and you can't really open up the body to the side of the room, it means that you need the block to lift yourself up and to create that opening. That is really important. Also look out for an over rotation of the top arm. Sometimes you will see your students doing this. So then you want to bring the wrists back in line with the shoulder. Coming out of this posture, I like having my students bending the front knee and then just slowly lifting themselves up so that they are protecting the knee as they exit the pose. So, ARDHA CHANDRASANA, our half moon posture. So I like having my students bringing the block into the hand already now, but you can also just have them placing it at the top of the mat, ready for them to grab if they need it. So we start by shortening the stance, shifting weight into the front foot, and then slowly finding your balance as you aim towards bringing the block down towards the floor, and you lift the back leg. So you want to bring the block towards the pinky edge side of the foot, so it's stacked right under the shoulder. So here you want to open that top hip, but you still have a slight internal rotation of the leg, so the top hip is slightly in front of the body. So again, that slight internal rotation of the back leg. We want the top arm to be in line with the bottom arm. Having the gaze down will here really help with the balance, but if the students want to challenge themselves, they can play with bringing the gaze up. So here they can imagine that they are leaning up against a wall. That is how much they want the body to be in one straight line. So here we're also looking for the danda. So running from the bump of the back of the head through the spine and all the way towards the heel. So if Lala were to take the block away and lower the hand down, she would naturally then lift the leg up a little bit higher to find that straight line. So the back leg doesn't necessarily have to be parallel to the floor, but it will follow the alignment of the spine. Coming out of it, try to move as mindfully as you did coming into it. So slowly bending the front leg. shifting weight back, and then lifting back up into your warrior two. Another important point that you really want to look out for here is what happens with the front foot. So once we are balancing, sometimes we tend to have this internal rotation, which can help with the balance. So if you notice that your students are doing that in the half moon, just guide them to bring the foot back, pointing straight towards the short edge of the mat. So again, first you want to guide your students to find the drishti, that non-moving point in front of them. So Lala, you can just slowly start shifting weight into your right foot and then coming up onto the toes of the left foot. Then from here, you're gonna place the foot just under the knee. So here it's really important that you never put the foot on top of the knee. We always want to avoid that. If it's accessible for your students, they can also, with the help of the one hand, they can bring the foot all the way up on the inside of the thigh. What's really important here is that the foot is pressing against the thigh and the thigh against the foot. So they're pressing towards the midline to make sure that one hip is not tilted towards one side, but you're bringing it back to the center. It's also important that the knee is in line with the standing leg. So what sometimes tends to happen is that this knee is pointing slightly forward. So bringing that back in line. So we have an external rotation here of the leg that is bent at the knee. So from here, Lala can place the hands in front of her heart. She could also extend the arms up. And she could also bring the palms together. Again, if you want to challenge your students, you could ask them to close their eyes. Coming out of this posture, you want to move slowly and gently, same way as you came in. So slowly releasing and lowering the foot all the way down to the mat. So coming into our Malasana, our yogi squat from Tadasana, Lala is going to start with just separating her feet and allowing the toes to point out to the side. Then she can already place the hands in front of her heart and then just slowly lowering down. Okay, so this might not be possible for all students. So you will see that some students, their heels will be lifted off the mat and they won't be able to place them down. So what you can do here is that you can place blocks under the heels to create more support for them. This can actually be a really challenging posture for some students. Another way you can modify it is having them sitting on a block instead of bringing the blocks underneath the heels. So here, bringing the hands to the inside. So Lala has really, really open hips, so it can almost be a little hard for her to demonstrate this. So here the toes are pointing out. And the elbows are on the inside of the knees, and you can kind of help pressing the knees out to the side to open the hips. We want to keep a straight spine and gaze is forward. So what's really important to look out for in this posture is that the toes and knees are pointing in the same direction. So it's also perfectly fine having the toes pointing more forward, just like Lala is doing right now. But for most of your students, they would want to open the toes out to the side, and then the knees will follow that direction as well. So just keep in mind that the knees and the toes should always be facing the same direction in Malasana.